Oh, again. So, some news come up. Some interesting news. Some ironic news. So, my settlements have come through, all of them. I've been accepted for all of them. I'm a scoop settlement. My Alberta child welfare settlement. I'm going to have to fight to get paid. And everything's been kind of clicking in, which is, I'm not used to, well, I'm not used to the positivity, to be truthful, or positive news or good news or anything like that. Maybe that's because I'm a pessimistic person. I mean, they didn't start off too good, but I worked through it, kind of thing. So anyway, there's been a lot of fucking whatever going on, this and that, and I've been working my ass off. Not really. I've just been dealing with a fucking shitload of shit. As you know, the August 17th false arrest, abuse of power, corruption, the theft of my animals, being robbed at gunpoint by the Edmonton police. During all that, before that happened, I was writing, and well, that kind of got pushed back due to the fact that everything's going on here, kind of thing. My hair is fucking bad. It's in that stupid stage. But anyway, I'm looking for a new place to live. I've kind of stumbled onto a place. It's touch me upper. I'm going to have to do some renovations. I'm going to have to work on it. Ironically, when... I don't know, can you see that? When we did this, the bases, when we did Broke, I don't have that on me, no. So when we did Broke, during the filming of Broke the documentary by Rosie Dransfeld and ID Productions, you can see them on TVO, whatnot. They have their own YouTube page and social media type of thing. I kind of screwed that up because at the time this was all going on, I had another group of people, of natives, that was trying to tell me another thing. Like, oh, we could do the same for you as what's going on here if you're just willing to do this and this. And then you know, they're just talking in a fucking year and, you know, really fucking up with my head. Because at that time, I was fighting with, I had a lot of shit going on. I was poor. I was living for 3 years. I lived off of less than $13 a month for 3 fucking years. I had to pay for my cat's food and everything. But for 3 years, I lived off of less than 13 bucks a month. And then I was fighting. I was fighting the Alberta government for the Alberta child welfare class action. So I was in set motion with that. I was getting that fucking started and everything and whatnot. That's what's taken away from my attention anyway. So I was doing all this. We were doing this at the time. You have to understand, I'm somebody that had to face a lot of things alone, so I don't, I'm guilty of, I don't talk, so I keep everything in and I bottle it out, and that's what happened with this. So I had these other people that had intentions and whatnot, intentions for themselves, to benefit themselves, not so much for me. Whispering in my ear and stupidly, because of everything going on, I thought I could trust him and whatnot. So I ended up fucking that up. I have no issues about that. I don't really care about fame or whatnot. So it's not like, you know, it's not like whatever. Actually, ironically, the bed that's fucking right there was actually got by Rosie Dransfeld, and I still have the bed, still never slept on the mattress kind of thing. It's still in perfect condition. I treat it with utmost respect because it's a gift, and that's the way I roll. But anyway, when we were doing this film, it was, when we were doing Broke, and it was, the question from Rosie Dransfeld was, if you got the money, what would you do with it? And at the time, I said, well, you know, me being me, and fucking having experience, being an ex-criminal, being Native, and whatnot, if I had a choice, I would open up a Native construction company so Natives can come and work. Natives that have criminal records, made mistakes, would have a place where they can come and work, earn cash, you know, whatnot. My whole entire thing is, if Natives are in a Native company, they'll feel better about themselves, they'll work fucking better, and we can really fucking make some cash, knock some shit out. Because my thing is, and I think this is true, is that Natives, if given the opportunity, minus the bullshit, will fucking perform like a Native warrior. Which means, you know, they work hard, they play hard, they don't give a shit, they're loyal and whatnot. So that was my philosophy and thinking. I didn't have the funds, and to be truthfully, I was caught with my pants down, and everybody kept piling on things that I didn't know about. Grants, estimations, and all this paperwork. My intention was not to owe anybody money, because I would, everything would be in-house, would be paid for. There wouldn't be any money owed. I wouldn't owe, because as a Native, we all know and have our biased opinions towards the government. They have never helped out Natives, and they definitely wouldn't help somebody out like me that they've abused, that has a 20-year criminal history. And that's evident by, you know, the fact that the Alberta government refused to pay out the remaining owed Alberta Child Welfare Abuse Settlement. The history shows, even my own history, you know, I was adopted out of a military base. They beat me, they covered it up, you know, they thought of me less than a person. And that's what conservative parties do. That's what this UCP Alberta does. That's what Jason Kenney of the new premier of Alberta, Andrew Scheer, the leader of the Conservative Party in general, Stephen Harper. It's no coincidence that all the abuse from Natives that have to suffer through child services all end up at the feet of that Conservative Party. Case in point, the Alberta child abuse, when I was in the child system and they were systematically abusing me, it was the Conservatives in charge. And they bragged about it. For 43 years, we've been in charge straight, and up from in 2014, that's what they were bragging about. But when they lost power here in Alberta, it's kind of coincidence that was when the court case was about to be heard upon, and a judgment was going to be passed down. They lost power, the NDP came in, and the NDP was wise and smart for once under Rachel Notley, which turned out to be a clusterfuck, because let's face it, Rachel Notley and the NDP are just more white privilege entitled, thinking that their shit don't stink, they know better than everybody else type of fucking government. You know, even before the Liberals were, and they had Thomas Mulcair here, one of the issues, I was a proud supporter. I was a supporter of NDP until they came to my house and I asked them about low income. And they said, well, we don't refer to poor people as low income. We refer to them as middle class. And I thought that was insulting. Why would you classify poor people as middle class? We are not middle class. We are poor. We need help. And it's not like help, like throw more welfare money kind of thing. I personally believe that it can be done in other situations and other ways. But enough of that. So the NDP come in and they settled the lawsuit. Payments went out last year. I still haven't got the remaining mine payments. And I played a bunch of the lawyers that were imposed upon me are from London, Ontario, which I don't think is right. That a government that just got into power should impose a bunch of racist lawyers that are located out in London, Ontario, and Victoria, BC, to dictate to me when I get my money. They paid half of it last year, and they're refusing to pay the other half. They blamed it on Alberta Victims' Crimes. Alberta Victims' Crimes blamed it on the adjudicator. The adjudicator didn't say anything. But then when I went back to Alberta Victims of Crimes, they blamed it on the Alberta government themselves. Oh, the Alberta government's not paying your is refusing to pay the remaining of your child abuse. Now the UCP are in power. It's not happening. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry, rambling. It's been, I'm still kind of flabbergasted about the good news and everything. So anyway, while all that shit was going on with the lawsuits and the class action lawsuits and everything, we were doing this. Broke was being filmed. They asked me during Broke, and that's when I started the lawsuit, got it actually off the ground, helped fucking get it off the ground and everything. They said, with your money that you get, what would you do? And I said, well, I'd like to open a native construction company, as I said. And I was over, they put everything on me, like grants and everything. I wasn't prepared, because that was something I was looking for, like not right away, like way down the future. I had a lot of personal healing myself, inner healing and self-healing I had to do myself before I was thrust into this situation. So I didn't handle the whole thing of being pushed and prodded and everything. So ironically now today, I phoned up about an apartment. The guy said, I'm willing to fucking give you a low rent for repairs, which is great. I kind of threw up, if you're willing to sell, I'd be interested, not thinking that it would go anywhere. He got back to me and said, this is the price, this is what I want, and whatnot. And it would be beneficial to me if I can get this shit together. Because ironically, I can start off with the Native Construction Company on this. So it's just kind of weird that now, after all these years, I can start the Native Construction Company if I want. Or I can keep going down this path, and I think helping the Native culture out through my experience of all the abuse, the crime, the drug dealing, the drug producing, everything that went along with that. Maybe there's some Native kids out there and other kids that can learn from my mistakes, when they think all hopeless is, there's no way or fucking whatever. I was abused. I was locked in closets, starved, systematically abused. I had bones snapped in front of me. I've been hit by cars. I was bullied by other kids on CFB Cold Lake. Relentless, because I was the only Native kid. I looked weird. I kept to myself. And all these white kids made sure they beat on my ass every day. I'd walk home. I'd have neighbors beating on my ass. I would have kids' brothers beating on my ass. And then when I got home, I would take another beating. So this was 24/7, 365 for 14 years of fucking nothing but getting fucking beaten down, getting up, beaten down, getting up. But never in my time did I ever think of committing suicide. So I'm kind of stuck at a crossroads right now. Do I start and go back to the Native Construction Company, or do I go the other way and help through my experiences? I'm also trying to write this shit out in a book, but I have a lot of anxiety and shit about my writing, because a lot of my beatings were caused because I have messy writings. So I'm kind of just wondering and kind of weighing out the pros and cons. I'm hoping that there may be some people out there that can give me some advice. Because, like I said, I'm not used to positivity, good news, or whatnot. I'm used to crime. You know, you put me in a city, I can survive that shit. With no cash, no nothing, I can survive that shit. You put me in jail, I can survive that shit. You put me with drugs, I know how to fucking deal with that shit. You put me in poverty, I know how to deal with that shit. But you give me good news and positivity, it freaks the fuck out of me. So I'm hoping that there's some people out there that can give me some advice and, you know. So thank you, and thank you for listening to my rambling.